The baby's cries echoed through the empty mansion like a haunting melody. Sarah's hands trembled as she rocked the fragile little girl, her dark curls damp with sweat. The infant's face had turned blotchy from hours of inconsolable wailing. "She won't take the bottle, Sarah," the nanny had said in a panic before storming off. "She hasn't eaten properly since her mother passed. I can't handle this anymore." Now Sarah sat alone in the nursery, staring down at the child in her arms. Lily White, barely 3 months old, her tiny fists waved feebly as she let out another rasping scream, lips trembling. The tragedy of Mrs. White's sudden death still hung heavy over the house like a suffocating fog. Pneumonia, they said. One moment she was vibrant and laughing in the garden with her baby. The next she was gone. Since then, the billionaire father, Mr. David White, had buried himself in work, unable to face the grief of his loss. Staff whispered that he hardly even looked at his daughter anymore, and now the baby was suffering for it. Sarah tried again, tipping the bottle toward Lily's mouth. "Please, sweet girl," she whispered desperately. "You have to eat." But the infant only turned her head weakly, rejecting the rubber nipple, her cries fading into pitiful whimpers. Sarah's heart clenched. She couldn't watch another baby starve. Not after what she had endured. 3 months ago, she had buried her own newborn son. She could still remember the sterile hospital room, the nurses whispering condolences, her milk coming in as if mocking her empty arms. She hadn't been able to stop lactating. Her body had kept producing milk even after her heart broke. And now, holding Lily close, she felt an ache so deep it nearly consumed her. Sarah bit her lip, glancing toward the door. "I can't let you starve," she whispered. "Forgive me if this is wrong." She unbuttoned her uniform with shaking hands, pulling the baby closer. As soon as her breast brushed Lily's lips, the infant latched on instinctively. Sarah gasped softly as the baby's weak sucking grew stronger, her tiny body relaxing for the first time in hours. Tears blurred Sarah's vision as she stroked Lily's cheek. "That's it, sweet girl," she murmured. "Eat. Stay alive. Your mama isn't here, but I am." She was so focused on the child that she didn't hear the footsteps approaching. "Sarah." The deep, unfamiliar voice froze her in place. She turned her head slowly. In the doorway stood Mr. White, his tailored suit immaculate as always, but his sharp eyes wide in shock. For a moment no one spoke. Lily suckled softly, unaware of the tension crackling in the air. "What are you doing?" he asked, his voice low and dangerous. Sarah's mouth went dry. "Sir, I can explain." "Explain?" His eyes narrowed and he'd stepped into the room. "I leave for one day and I come home to find my maid breastfeeding my child." His voice rose with each word, thunderous and cutting. Sarah felt her throat tighten. "She wasn't eating," she said softly. "She refused the bottle for hours. I didn't know what else to do. She needed milk." "You think this is your place?" he barked. "To feed my daughter like she's yours?" She was starving. Sarah snapped back before she could stop herself. The words hung in the air, bold and defiant. Mr. White stared at her, his face unreadable. Sarah looked down at Lily, who had fallen asleep, her little fist resting on Sarah's chest. "Fire me if you want," Sarah whispered. "But she needed me." Mr. White took a deep breath, his expression softening for the briefest moment as he looked at his daughter. "You've been hiding this from me," he said, his voice quieter now. "Why?" Sarah's lips quivered. "Because you wouldn't understand," she said. "And because I lost my own baby 3 months ago." He froze. "You what?" "I buried my son," she whispered, tears sliding down her cheeks. "And I still had milk. Your daughter wouldn't eat, and I couldn't stand by and watch her suffer." The room fell silent except for the baby's gentle breathing. Mr. White looked at her for a long moment, then turned away. "Bring her to my office when she wakes up," he said stiffly. "We need to talk." As he left, Sarah felt her heart sink. Was this the end or the beginning of something she couldn't yet imagine? Sarah sat rigidly on the edge of a chair in Mr. White's office, her fingers twisting the hem of her apron. Every second felt like an hour as she replayed his words over and over. "We need to talk." What would he say? Would he yell, fire her, call the police? The sound of his heavy footsteps made her stomach lurch. He walked in slowly, shutting the door behind him with a soft click. Lily slept peacefully in her arms, unaware of the storm brewing around her. Mr. White stood by the window, staring out at the sprawling estate grounds for a long moment before speaking. "You didn't ask me." His voice was calm, but there was an edge to it that made Sarah's heart pound. "I didn't have time," she said quietly. She was starving. She wouldn't take the bottle. I panicked. He turned to face her, his sharp features unreadable. You panicked and decided to feed my child as if she were your own. Sarah swallowed hard. Sir, I know it sounds wrong, but after her mother died, she's been refusing everyone. She needed warmth, comfort, milk. I was the only one who could give it to her. Mr. White walked closer, his eyes fixed on Lily's peaceful face. And what about you? He asked. You didn't think about what this would do to you? Sarah's lips trembled. I lost my son 3 months ago, she whispered. I buried him. My body didn't understand he was gone. I still produced milk. Every time I felt it, it reminded me of him. And then I saw your baby suffering. I couldn't turn away. Silence. Sarah looked down, afraid to meet his gaze. If you want me gone, I understand, she said softly. But please don't let her go hungry again. There was a long pause before Mr. White spoke. I thought I had lost everything when my wife died, he said, his voice low. But seeing you with her, it's the first time Lily has looked whole again. Sarah blinked in surprise. You're not angry? He shook his head slowly. I was at first, but now I realize I've been failing her, hiding behind work. You stepped in where I didn't. Mr. White walked over and gently brushed his fingers against his daughter's tiny hand. She's alive because of you, he murmured. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I was only doing what any mother would do, she said. That's just it, he replied softly. You gave her what she needed most, not just food, but love. He straightened and took a deep breath. I want you to stay, he said firmly. Sarah's eyes widened. Stay? Yes. Not just as a maid, as Lily's caregiver, her second mother. Sarah's heart thudded in her chest. Sir, that's too much. I can't. You already have, he interrupted, and I trust you more than anyone. News of Mr. White's decision spread quickly among the staff. Did you hear? He's keeping her on, not as a maid, but as family. Some whispered in shock, others nodded approvingly. Weeks later, Sarah sat on the mansion's patio with Lily nestled against her chest. Mr. White watched from the doorway, a faint smile tugging at his lips. You saved her, he said. Sarah looked up, her eyes soft. She saved me, too, she replied. For the first time in months, the mansion felt like a home again. And for Sarah, a woman who thought she'd lost everything, it was the beginning of a new chapter she never expected. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments where in the world are you watching from. We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.